Amy the Hedgehog's Go. Amy's mom was in the kitchen when Amy rushed in. "How was school?" asked her mom. Amy's usual answer was okay, but today she shouted, "It was great! A lady talked to us about wild animals. She showed us a hedgehog. I like hedgehogs. I want to learn everything about hedgehogs." "Why?" asked Amy's mom. "I want to be a hedgehog doctor. I want to know all about hedgehogs," said Amy. "That's good," said Amy's mom. "If you want to be a hedgehog doctor, you must learn more about hedgehogs. You can go to the library and find some books about hedgehogs." "Oh no," said Amy. "Then I'll have to see Mr. Peck." Mr. Peck worked in the library. He was the children's librarian. He was not a nice person. He was Amy's neighbor. Amy did not like Mr. Peck. The next day, Amy went to the library. The library was almost empty when Amy arrived. She looked along the shelves. She was trying to find a book about hedgehogs. "What are you doing?" shouted a voice behind her. Amy was frightened. She turned around and saw Mr. Peck. "I'm looking for a book about animals," said Amy. "Animals?" asked Mr. Peck. "What kind of animals? Tame animals? Wild animals? Animals from Africa, India, Britain, Hong Kong?" "Hedgehogs," said Amy. "Hedgehogs?" shouted Mr. Peck. "Yes, hedgehogs," said Amy. "They are the worst animals. They dig up vegetables and eat them," said Mr. Peck. He pulled the book from the shelves. "If you really want to read about ugly hedgehogs, then read this book," he said. "Thank you," said Amy politely. "Bring the book back on time," said Mr. Peck. "And don't bring hedgehog into your garden. Your garden is next to mine. If I see a hedgehog near the carrots in my garden, I'll—" "What?" asked Amy quietly. "I'll throw water over it," answered Mr. Peck. Amy read a book about hedgehogs at home. She read, "Hedgehogs like to eat slugs and snails." The book did not say anything about hedgehogs eating vegetables. The next day, she took the book back to the library. "What's this?" asked Mr. Peck. "You can keep this book for another 20 days. "But I finished it," said Amy. "Have you got any more books about hedgehogs?" "Over there," said Mr. Peck, pointing with his nose. Amy looked at the books and walked slowly along the shelves. She could not find any books about animals. She wanted to ask Mr. Peck for help, but she was frightened. Then she saw something. There were a lot of cassettes. They looked very old. "Has anybody played these cassettes before?" Amy asked herself. The cassettes were about animal sounds. Amy took one of the cassettes down from the shelf. This was cassette number 12, and it was called Hedgehogs. Amy asked Mr. Peck, "Can I borrow this cassette?" He looked at the cassette. "Of course you can, but why would you want to listen to hedgehog sounds?" he said rudely and stamped the date on the cassette box. Amy sat in her room listening to the sound of hedgehogs again and again on her Walkman. Amy repeated the sounds herself. "I'm talking like a hedgehog," thought Amy. "But what am I saying? I really need a hedgehog to help me. There must be one in the garden. If I make hedgehog sounds, perhaps it'll hear me." Amy ran into the garden and made hedgehog sounds as loudly as she could. She stopped and listened, but no hedgehogs answered. Amy tried again, only a cat came into the garden. I am going to try again, said Amy. I can do it. At last she was cold and she went indoors. The next night, Amy made the hedgehog sounds again. She made the sounds every night for a week. What are you doing in the garden? Asked her mom. You'll find out soon, said Amy. Suddenly the doorbell rang. It was Mr. Peck. He was wearing his pajamas and dressing gown. His hair was wet. Every night when I have my bath, I can hear a noise. Mr. Peck told Amy's mom. The noise comes from your garden. Amy laughed quietly behind her hand. What kind of noise? Asked Amy's mom. It's an animal, said Mr. Peck. You should put poison in your garden to get rid of the animals. When Mr. Peck left, Amy ran into the garden. I was the animal, she said to herself. I'm going to try to make hedgehog sounds one more time. Amy went down on her knees and made her hedgehog sounds again. Suddenly, there was a noise and a hedgehog walked onto the grass slowly. Amy was very happy. The hedgehog and Amy made hedgehog sounds. They were talking to each other. Suddenly, someone shone a torch in their eyes. What are you doing? Said a voice. It was Mr. Peck again. He was still in his dressing gown. The hedgehog rolled into a ball. It was frightened. I'm talking to a hedgehog, said Amy. Don't lie, you naughty girl. You're not talking to a hedgehog, said Mr. Peck. Yes, I am, said Amy. Hedgehogs are dirty little animals. They eat all the vegetables in my garden, said Mr. Peck. That's not true, Amy said angrily. Hedgehogs are not dirty, and they don't eat vegetables. They eat slugs and snails. Goodbye, Mr. Peck. I want to talk to my hedgehog. Mr. Peck could not answer. He watched Amy talk to the round ball on the grass. Then it opened and the hedgehog's face came out slowly. He was very surprised. He could not speak. Suddenly, Mr. Peck smiled to himself. How often do you talk to your hedgehog? He asked. This is the first time, said Amy, but from now on I will talk to it every night. Good, said Mr. Peck. You're going to be here every night. Good. When Amy came home from school the next day, Mr. Peck was in his front garden. He was tying a large notice to his gate. When he saw Amy, he threw his coat over it. Amy wanted to show her mom the hedgehog. It was dark when they went into the garden to see her hedgehog friend. Amy went down on her knee and began to make hedgehog sounds. This time 2 hedgehogs came up to her. What are they talking about? Whispered Amy's mom. Slugs and snails, said Amy. There was a sound from the next garden. Amy shone her torch at the fence. There were a lot of people looking into Amy's garden. They all looked very surprised. Then Amy saw Mr. Peck. I invited a few friends to my house. Is that okay? He asked. Amy was angry. However, she also felt very proud because a lot of people were watching her. You may watch, but please don't talk or make a noise and don't take photographs, she said. Everyone nodded. Amy went down on her knees and made hedgehog sounds again. This time, 3 more hedgehogs came up to her. Amy talked to the hedgehog. She said, Don't be afraid, hedgehogs. The people just want to see you because you are very clever. Amy and the hedgehogs talked and played together. As soon as the hedgehogs went, the people behind the fence began to clap and cheer. "What were you talking to the hedgehogs about?" they asked. "We are talking about their babies and finding food and why they curled up into a ball, and then we are talking about sleeping through the winter," said Amy. Amy's mom put her arm round Amy. "You are wonderful," she said. "Come inside and I will make you a nice hot drink." "Yes, go in now," said Mr. Peck happily. "You must be very tired." There was something strange about Mr. Peck. He never said anything kind to Amy. Then Amy heard a strange noise. It was the sound of coins dropping into a box. "That was a very cheap, thank you," Amy heard someone say. "Be quiet," whispered Mr. Peck. Then Amy remembered the notice on Mr. Peck's front gate. Why did he try to hide it? Amy asked herself. She rushed to the front of the house and read the notice. It said in large letters, "See the amazing hedgehog girl. Admission only €1, tea and biscuits." "What a natty man," said Amy. Then she smiled slowly and said, "I have an idea." She rushes back to Mr. Peck's garden. Some people were still having tea and biscuits. Before Mr. Peck could stop Amy, she climbed on the wall and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to see the hedgehogs tonight. I must tell you something. Mr. Peck is going to give all the money from tonight to a hedgehog hospital to look after sick hedgehogs." Everyone clapped and nodded, but Mr. Peck did not. His face went bright red. He looked very angry. "And," continued Amy, "Mr. Peck is going to give the same amount of money as in the box to the hedgehog hospital too." Everyone clapped again and cheered. Mr. Peck's face went pale and he looked ill. However, he tried to smile. Before Mr. Peck could say anything, Amy said, "The hospital has asked me to take the money for them." She looked at Mr. Peck and she held out her hands. Mr. Peck gave the money box to Amy quietly. He looked sad. He looked even more sad when he took some money out of his own pocket and gave it to Amy. "Thank you very much, Mr. Peck," said Amy. However, Amy felt sorry for Mr. Peck. The next day, she sent the money to the hedgehog hospital. Then she asked the hedgehogs to look after Mr. Peck's garden. She told them to eat all the slugs and snails, so they would not eat Mr. Peck's vegetables. A few weeks later, Mr. Peck won the third prize for his vegetables at the village vegetable show. That evening, Mr. Peck leaned over the fence to show Amy his third prize. "I should think those hedgehogs, they are very useful animals," he said. "I thought them a present." He gave Amy a can of dog food. "There are some new books about hedgehogs in the library. I'll read one." It said, "Hedgehogs really like dog food," he explained. Amy put the dog food on a plate and a group of hedgehogs started eating it. Amy went down on her knees beside them. "What are they saying?" asked Mr. Peck. "Oh," said Amy, "hedgehogs are difficult to understand when they have their mouths full. Perhaps they are saying thank you for the dog food." "Good," said Mr. Peck. "I paid a lot of money for that can of dog food. And please tell them not to speak with their mouths full. It's very rude." "I'll try," said Amy. She looked at the hedgehogs and smiled. "They smiled back at me too," she thought. The end.